What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Battlefield Project Podcast. Let me start off by saying, mothers, hide your children. Wives or husbands, hide your wives. This will probably get aggressive, my guess, which I love. I'm kind of kidding, not kidding. Every episode's at a curse at this point, so who fucking cares if you curse all the time? Go for it, man. But yeah, so the Battlefield Project Podcast is for those who understand that life is a battle and only the strong will thrive. We are not just about surviving, we're all about thriving in this life. We're all about shining a light on our guests to have them basically explain their stories and share some challenges and battles that they've overcome in their lives and what they did to fight through those battles and challenges, and now how they're living the good life because of it. I think too many people are under the impression that happy, successful people just have a red carpet laid out in front of them, and that's why they live such a good life. And that's not the case. Almost every one of us has fought some big, small battles on a consistent basis. And it's just that we have the courage and fortitude to fight our way through it so we can create the life that we want. So that's the purpose of this podcast, is to have our guests share those kinds of stories with you so you can take some inspiration from it and realize you're not alone, that you can pretty much get through anything that life throws at you. My guest today is none other than Kyle motherfucking Slaymaker, as he introduced himself in his response back to me via email. I'm going to jump in here real quick and read Kyle's bio. Kyle Slaymaker of the Slaymaker Method is a renowned business consultant with a global audience. Being labeled a disruptor in the business consulting industry by Authority Magazine, Kyle has spoken on stages all around the world, and his podcast, Slaying the Sale, is listened to in 20 different countries. Known for his unique style, Kyle has brought his years of highly successful experience in business and sales, combined it with his unrivaled knack for networking and connecting, and devoted his life to teaching businesses of all sizes how to better reach their goals while not sacrificing their core values. I think that last little, not sacrificing their core values, is such a big part of it, because some people will sell their soul for the dollar, and I would never in a million years, but some people would. So I like that you kind of clarify that. It's not just about growing a quick business. It's like, do that, but do it in alignment with yourself and keeping your integrity and core values in check. So Kyle, man, welcome to the show. The floor is yours. Let's hear some stories, challenges, battles that you've kind of faced in your life, how you fought through them, and now the good life you're living because of that.
Beautiful intro. Couldn't have written it any better myself.
I'm great at what I do.
You are. So, you know, when I do these podcasts and these shows, or when I talk about overcoming struggle and stuff, which I've talked about at length in various stages, various interviews, various podcasts, there's a recurring theme, right? A lot of people know about me losing my brother and how that sent me into alcoholism, how it fucked me up for a while. But I think I'm going to take a little different of a turn today. Instead of really talking about that, I'm going to focus on something that happened in my teenage years. And this is something that you should feel very privileged for, because this is the very first time I've ever spoken really openly about it.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah. I figured, what better place than the Battlefield Project?
There you go, brother.
All right. So let's talk upbringing. Child of divorce. My mom divorced my dad when I was 2 weeks old. Then she divorced my stepfather when I was 13. Like right before I was supposed to get my bar mitzvah. So that was not fun, but some relationships just need to end. And then she sent me to live with my dad because I was what you would call a dickhead. That's probably the best way I would describe how I was back then, maybe even now. And one day, my father and stepmother said it's time to get a job. So McDonald's is right up the road in Greenfield. So I got my first job working at McDonald's. I know, not cliche at all. And long story short, I was sexually assaulted and raped by the manager there. And long story short, it was this whole big thing, right? So my parents found out. I will leave out how they found out for now. And they took me to the police department, and we found out that one, I was not the only person. I was not the only kid. There were two others from just my high school class alone. I was the only one to actually keep pushing forward and bring charges against them. The other two back down. I don't think the parents wanted them involved with it. So the first thing that happened is went to the police department. The detective said, "I'm going to show you a picture, and I want you to tell me if this is the person that did this to you." And he showed me one half of a mugshot, right? And at that time, I was 16 when it happened. And I said, "Yeah, that's him." I said, "But now I want you to be honest with me. That's a mugshot." And he goes, "Well, I'm not going to lie to you. You're dealing with somebody who's very, very, very dangerous." And I was like, "Oh, fucking great. Go big or go home." Right.
Yeah, right.
You
Yeah.
have to. So a few days later, they said, "Hey, we need to get him on tape. We need you to wear a wire and try to get him to talk about any of this stuff." Right. So I was like, "Oh, cool." I was like, and there you go. You're going to have all the cops around you, all the detectives from the police department, state police will be there. They're going to be in all plain clothes. You'll not be able to pick them out. Right. And at this point, I was like, all right, cool. Whatever. This guy clearly is a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I remember looking out in the lobby because the meeting was set to be at work at McDonald's. And I saw like 20 or 30 old silver Nextel phones walking around, and I was like, I'm gonna get killed. Like I was like, if my teenage ass clearly see every single plainclothes officer, like I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
So then they give me the wire, right? And one of the worst parts of it is that the one detective who took over the case, it was the parent of a classmate of mine. And he was like, "Oh, my daughter." I was like, "Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Come on. Right. Yeah.
I was like, "Great timing, sir. Great time." So they give me this large, like oversized fitted hat, right? The big ass flat brim that like I never ever wore.
Mm-hmm.
I was the scrawny, skinniest kid. I did not have a single ounce of fashion sense. And now here I am wearing this gigantic fitted hat, right? I was like, there's no way this is going to work.
Yeah.
But it did. It worked so well. He actually, when he came and we were talking outside, he tapped the brim of the hat and he was like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "I forgot my hat. This is all I had." And he's like, "Oh man, it looks horrible on you." I was like, "Okay, well,
thanks."
They don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
So we got him on tape talking about a lot of stuff. What happened, and then some of the other people involved.
Yeah.
So about I want to say a week later, I was coming home from school, and there were these two. I think it was two. There was two jet black huge SUVs with New York plates. Now, I've never seen them before. I don't know what the New York plates are doing in my driveway. Right? I was terrified. I was like, "Mafia came and killed my family."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I walk in, and there's two FBI agents.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "Listen, we really need to get some stuff straight. We've been after this guy for so long. Like you're the one that's going to help us bring him down. Like we have been chasing him for a long time." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Like how long?" And he said, the female agent said he was arrested back in the 70s for sodomy of a 12-year-old.
Wow.
Up in New York. When the FBI and the cops raided his apartment and his storage unit, they found, I think they said something like 700 pictures of kids from 17, all boys from 17 down to about 7 months. Even his own godchildren. Right. So I did what they asked. They didn't need me to testify because they had all this evidence on this guy.
Yeah.
And he went to jail. Now, we thought that he was going to die in prison.
As he should.
He shouldn't even fucking.
Or I was to say with a needle in his arm.
Yeah.
Sorry, but no.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So he got his sentence, and then last year, either this year or last year, I think it was this year. I can't remember. One of the years. we got a notification because I'm supposed to be notified of anything that happens with him. Apparently, that's some advocacy stuff. And find out he's living in Lancaster City. He got out. He made it out.
Out of here.
Yeah, yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. So I'm like, I know that like I can't believe he made it out. Like not just because of what he did, but he was already pretty old and very unhealthily out of shape.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe there's going to be a time that I run into him. I don't know. But let's talk about how that affected me. A fucking lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah. And it's one of those things, though, that it's important, one, for the story to get told. Two, it's important for me to be open about it, which is something I've never done before, aside from my family and closest friends. But like looking back at how I acted after those events, like that's when the hard drinking started back when I was a teenager. Went all through my military career. I stopped giving a shit about everything after that. Everything. I shouldn't have graduated high school. I should have just dropped out.
Yeah.
But I made it. And I realized, like, as I would start to reflect on these things, like that event that I have tried convincing myself didn't affect me really, really affected me.
Yeah.
I know that's a really extreme event. That's a really traumatic event. Not everybody has that story. I know a lot of people do. But it's one of those things, like the biggest lesson is to, understand that no matter how good you feel when it comes to stuff with, because I have PTSD from it.
Yeah.
That those effects never really go away. So maybe I compartmentalized, maybe I pushed them down. I don't know. But it's something that's kind of always on my mind sometimes, especially knowing that he made it out of jail and is in this town.
Yeah.
Now, I assure you, the meeting would go much differently than it did back then.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like, you have to address stuff. You absolutely 100% have to address stuff. I don't care how traumatic an event is. I don't care how well you think you've handled it. You didn't.
Yeah.
That shit eats away at you. And you can say what you want about therapy and psychology and all that other stuff, whether you're for it, whether you're against it. That shit has some serious effects on you.
Yeah.
And it did on me. And I mean, I'm still at 35, 20 years later. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. And all I think about is again, running into this dickhead.
Yeah.
So the important thing with all of this is just put in the work, get shit off your chest, talk to people when you need to talk about it, and accept the fact that you're a little fucked up.
Yeah.
Right. That's the most important part. I ran from the fact that happened to me for so long. I wouldn't talk about it, wouldn't even let it enter my mind. And then finally I was just like, you know what? This is part of my story. This is part of who I am. This is maybe, if things went differently, I don't know how my life would have gone. I don't know where it would have gone, but I can tell you that I'm really fucking happy with where it's at. So yeah.
Is that your way of saying I need to hit a joint after that story?
No, that's my son. Get some more Starburst. He has headphones on for anybody listening. I'm not just swearing in front of my 4-year-old and talking about this.
Yeah, dude.
Hit you with a banger, huh?
Yeah, that was. I thought it would maybe be the brother story because I've heard that not in its entirety, but bits and pieces of that, and that's in and of itself is like a monumental. I have a younger brother, like enormous thing that I'm like, if he goes there, like that's gonna be fucking heavy and deep and like. Jesus,
say you want
to be like, I don't even know what to say, man. Uppercut, left hook.
If any of your listeners or you want to hear the story of my little brother in its complete entirety, go onto my YouTube channel, which is very, very hard to find. Just type in the Slaymaker method.
I can't remember that.
No, it's hard. It's hard. Just go onto my channel, and I think it's probably the most recent video I uploaded.
Okay.
Or maybe it's not. I don't know. But you will see it's a screenshot of him, and I can't remember what I titled it, but it's a 45-minute long video, and I detailed the entire thing.
Yeah, dude. I thank you for sharing that first and foremost. I appreciate your trust in me and like the audience and all that stuff. That it means a lot to me. I'm not just being like we shoot the shit all the time and bust balls all, but like honestly, like I feel pretty honored that you shared that. And I think what you said, oh, go ahead.
It just sparked one of my favorite memories of my little brother. So I was talking to my my ex stepfather a few years back before my brother passed, and Benny was sitting at the table around. We were talking about it, and sure enough, my little brother, I can see the look in his face, like this kid's about to say something really stupid, like really stupid.
Here we go.
And he goes, "Man, you really did get fucked." And his dad was so pissed. He was furious. I found it hysterical. Just,
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta laugh at something that fucked up. Yeah.
oh man, I haven't thought about that in ages.
But so I don't have anything that traumatic. I've made a lot of dumb mistakes, ran with law, and I have people say to me quite often when I share those stories, if you could take one thing back, what would you take back? Or do you regret any of it? And my answer is unequivocally always no, and I wouldn't change anything, because the smallest tweak of anything that happened in the past puts me down a slightly different future road, whatever you want to say, which may not lead me to where I'm at today, which is exactly where I want to be, doing exactly what I want to do. So what you said is like, it's all part of my story. Like I have to accept that piece, because here's me today, and that's just a piece of it. And had you not, like, again, this is how my brain thinks, but say that traumatic event didn't happen that day, and you leave work 30 minutes earlier and you get hit by a bus walking to the car and you're dead. Like that's like an extreme situation, but you have no idea how life will play itself out if you start wishing things. And that's not to say like you don't, like, of course I wish that didn't happen to you. Of course, like you wish that didn't happen to you, but it did. And like, what do you do with that? Do you constantly beat yourself up? Do you hate on yourself? Do you suppress it? Do you let it affect your relationship with your kids and wife, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Or do you like be a man? That I'll probably get canceled for saying that, but like be a man about it, like, measure up and be like, okay, part of it is it happened. I'm going to make the best of my life and not let it derail everything moving forward.
Yeah, it's really strange because I mean I can't think of anything else that I haven't been very open with.
Yeah.
From the loss of my brother to other stuff, my struggles with alcoholism and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I think just because of the maturity level I was at when everything took place, I think maybe that's why I handled it the way that I did for all of these years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's so weird. Like when you think of an event like that, you at face value for the listeners, you're probably like, oh my God, why wouldn't he take that back if he could?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you said, you're exactly where you want to be.
Yeah.
I've got a beautiful wife and 3 great kids. Well, he'll get there. He's had a rough few
Not
days.
in this moment, but he's great. Yeah.
I've got my business, I've got the books, I've got all this stuff that I've done, and that's another thing. Tell the story.
Yeah.
Right. Don't be afraid to just be like, look what happened, because I liken it to my little brother's story. Whenever I tell that story, whenever somebody watches that video, I get a message, whether I know them or not. Mm-hmm. And it's, you said so much good stuff there. Thank you so much, because I've been feeling that way for so long. If me going through what I did helps just one person, fine.
Yeah. Mission served.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Yeah, I had a guy on earlier today. That episode will be released at some point, but it's not what you went through, but like very tough upbringing, and like suppressed it for so long and was ashamed to talk about it. And then at one point I was just like, I need to like start talking about it, because if I don't, like, what am I going to do with it? And now he uses his past and his story to like, I mean, I was at the end of it, I was like, holy shit, man. I was like, I'm inspired as fuck.
You had a hell of a day, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna I gotta go decompress after this. I'm like, man. But no, and like in all honesty, this is exactly what I was hoping to accomplish with this podcast. Was to get these real stories from real people, like, because you have a really good social media presence. Let's call it that. Digital footprint. Yeah, I know. Fucking Facebook communists. Moving on. But people would from the outside looking in would see that and be like, Kyle's got it all. Like, he's got everything. Like he has no problems. He's not dealing with anything. gets on stage, writes books, has a great family,
That's
but it's
so
not it.
frustrating.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not it.
I have, I mean, I had a conversation with Nell, literally today,
Yeah,
because she cultivated a hater, and this person was, I mean, it's nuts. And I
yeah,
ran to Nell's defense because, that's my girl.
yeah,
Um, and the stuff she was saying, like, it just didn't make sense. Like people like Nell, people like me, people like you, we have worked so hard
yeah.
to get to where we're at. And the crazier thing is that we know we're going to have to work 50 times harder to get to where we actually want to be.
Want to be? Yep.
And that takes struggle.
Yeah.
Like that's hard. That takes sacrifice. We're going to fucking, I mean, it puts strain on relationships. It puts strain on family members. Like, it's hard work to get yourself out there. To not trying to stroke my own ego,
No.
but to the level that I've done, like, it's been, you struggle to figure out how it affects the people around you.
Yeah.
Right? Because yes, on the outside looking in, I do have it all. I've got the wife, I've got the kids, and in that case, I do have it all.
Yeah.
But like you said, the books, the speaking around the world, all that other stuff, it comes with so much effort and sacrifice.
Yeah.
On a positive note with it, Elizabeth was at, I think, yeah, she was at her school, because she's a teacher, obviously, as everybody knows. And another teacher or somebody came up and was like, oh my gosh, they're telling, do you know who her husband is? Do you know who her husband is? How did you meet a guy like that? Did you? Oh my gosh, did you show up to one of his events and like fangirl until he noticed?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, my God, if this woman knew all the fucking shit my wife had to put up with,
Yeah.
years before I even started my business.
Yep.
And she's the least fangirl person out there.
Yeah.
And it's just like you don't really comprehend that, even with these people that have such a good life, like, their family members live in the shadows that they're unintentionally casting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I want everybody to realize. Like, you got to take care of your family first, because
Yeah.
when all is said and done, and when your businesses are struggling or failing, they're the only ones you got.
Yeah. Dude, you mentioned at the end of your bio, you mentioned core values. I read the Unfuck Your Business by Thomas Keenan, core values. And I've always lived with values, but I've never like written them out and defined them. And then I did earlier this year, and at the very top it was family first. And like that's it for me. Like, I'll start and fail businesses, I'll start businesses, have some succeed. Family's like the constant. And I was walking the dogs the other morning, because I'm like you do. Like, I've achieved a certain level of success, but I see much greater things for myself. So then I see someone at that level of success in the business financial space that I'm not at yet, or even close to being at. And I kind of beat myself up sometimes internally. Like, I do like you need to get there sooner. What do you do? Why are you not there? Blah, 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 blah. And I play these mental gymnastics.
Get into perspective.
Yeah. And I was walking the dogs, and I came around the corner, and I was like, it was just like this moment. I was like, I have it all. Like, I literally, like, I have it all already. And like, do I want more? Yes. But like, do I have everything that I want and need right now in this exact moment? Like, yes. So then it just was like an immediate release of like self-imposed pressure that I've been putting on myself to get to a certain dollar amount in my savings and investments, but like that are important, but not like the essence of everything. The essence of everything is like wife and kids and like a roof over my head and food on my table. Like, I've accomplished that. I'm good. Like, I don't really need to stress myself out over more. And that's why, so I had this conversation with Helen. I was like, but that's not to say like I'm not pushing. Like, I'm pushing, like, and we're gonna get like to the next level, but I'm not anxiety driven anymore. It's just like a peaceful process that I know is gonna happen, and I'm gonna get there.
That's, you gave me an epiphany. You mentioned about how at this stage, you have what you want, or maybe I should say you have what you need.
Yep.
And then you see what, where you want to go. I think there's truly like three stages of entrepreneurship. And this is in the small business sector.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that starting out phase where you are just clawing and fighting and just doing everything you can to fucking survive. And you're working your ass off 23 hours a day. You're doing all this stuff. And, you think about quitting every other week. And then you start being able to sustain yourself. You start being able to sustain your family. That's the second level to where you're at, where you're making money. You've got everything you need. And then there's that third phase, which is where we all want to get to.
Yep.
Right. That phase of, holy shit, I've got more money than I need. I'm impacting tons and tons of people. I'm living the life that I want to live exactly as I want to live it. And so are my wife and kids, or my husband.
No worries, no concerns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the perspective, and this is where the really big epiphany is for me from what you just said. When we're back at phase one, at step one, we have all these grandiose dreams of getting to step three. Right. And then we often forget about step two.
Yeah.
But the perspective of what it's going to take to get to the final step is drastically different at the level that you and I are at.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten to this level. We've done the fighting and scraping and all that other stuff, dealing with tons and tons of shit. So now knowing the level of work and effort that's going to go in to get to that other space is it's clarity.
Yeah.
I really think it's clarity. I hope any business owner takes this episode very seriously, because I never even thought about it until we just talked about it. Like, I have a completely different perspective of what it's going to take to get to that last level.
Yeah. And it should be an enjoyable process. Like, that's, for me, that's what I'm coming to the realization is, like, I'm like, do I want more? Yeah. Well, I work really, really fucking hard and struggle to get more. Yeah. But, like, should I attach my happiness to when I get there, or should I be happy here because I got to this point, and through staying happy, balanced, grateful here, I'll probably get there a lot quicker, because I'm not like throwing negative energy around myself and stress and anxiety that I'm not there yet. Like, there yet is such a impossible notion to nail down. It's like, when is there? Like, who knows? It could be next year, it could be 4 years from now. I don't really care at this point, because I love where I'm at.
Well, then you have the issue of, I'll call it entrepreneur syndrome, where when you get there,
what's
if
next?
you're a goal, if you're a goal-oriented person, you fucking you're gonna get there and be like, I can
10x this.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the nature of high-performing entrepreneurs, and it's so intriguing to see, because there's a lot of these non-high performing entrepreneurs, not that they aren't successful, but when you put that high performing moniker on there, it really is two different types of people. Right. There's always a goal. And I was talking to my therapist about it, and he said, there's always a goal for you. Think about your personal life, because we were talking about how, as our marriage counselor, marriage therapist, and we were talking about how Elizabeth is very intention oriented. I'm very goal oriented. And I sat back and I was like, he goes, how often do you have goals? Like, do you have something that has to get done? And I was like, with fucking everything in my life. But like, even like, and I really like dialed it down. I was like, it's not just the business. It's okay. Like, when we go to, let's say, a theme park, or we go on vacation, before we even go, I'm like, okay, we need to go here, 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 and here. I need this, and this. Even with relaxing, I'm setting fucking goals.
Goals to how to relax best.
Yeah. Instead of just being in the moment. And then shortly after, he taught me how to actually be in the moment. It was a freeing fucking experience. Freeing. But like I said, when you have that goal-oriented lifestyle, I'll never be. I don't know if I'll really be in the moment in my business ever, just because that's how I operate business. Goals. I have levels that I want to do. I have stuff I want to do. I'm going to go do it. This is how I do it. I've got a fucking goal planner for next year sitting right next to me that I got to fill out. That's another goal, a goal toward the goal planner. So,
Yeah, I
It's
just
fun.
filled in
I
some
love it.
goals this afternoon. Like I got like I'm still an idiot. Like write notes on sheets of paper when I'm talking on calls and stuff, and then I got to transcribe it or put it on the computer. Like, why don't I just do that from the beginning? But regardless, I finally took a piece of paper that I had handwritten some goals out for 2023 and put it on my Excel document to track it. I'm like, good. Now it's in writing. It's saved. I'm good. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the same way, dude. It's constant. Like, what else can I achieve? How do I get there? Break it down step by step.
It's the fear aspect,
Yeah,
right? I don't care how macho you are. I don't care if you're running Ironmans or you're a SEAL for 26 years. Will Branham on my podcast, he was a SEAL for 20 some years. He's awesome.
yeah,
But I have a very strict rule now, and I didn't have this rule until I got to this second stage of entrepreneurship. If something scares me, I fucking do it immediately.
yeah,
I don't think about it. As soon as I feel fear, that's my sign to go do it.
yeah.
Go fucking do it.
Yep.
And that's been really, really powerful for me.
Yeah.
And my 4-year-old apparently has the same thing, which terrifies his mother. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, as a 4-year-old, have a little bit of fear. Maybe hit the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Have mom and dad watch you. Yeah.
Like, I want to go fishing for swordfish. I was like, me too.
Yeah.
Like, don't even think about it.
Not until he's bigger than the swordfish that he's trying to catch. Awesome, man. Well, shit, dude. I knew I was going to enjoy this, but I didn't quite know to what extent. So, seriously, thank you a million times over for sharing your.
We'll have to record yours on mine, don't we?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we haven't done it. I think once, and then I think I had to cancel because one of the kids had one of their many ear infections or fevers or something, and something else I'm sure happened. So yeah, I'd love to be on yours too for sure, man. But yeah, where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
Okay, so
more foul language in their life.
Yes. Yeah, just so you guys know, right? 4 years in the Navy, that language never leaves. So you can find me on Facebook. My personal profile always gets the most stuff. My business page, just because Facebook business algorithms suck. I don't really do too much with it. Kyle.slaymaker.54 is my URL, or just search Kyle Slaymaker. You'll see a picture of a handsome, chubby guy on stage.
Beautiful face.
Yeah, beautiful. LinkedIn at Kyle Slaymaker, TikTok and Instagram. Instagram is at Slaymaker Method. TikTok is at the Slaymaker Method. Website, phone number is on there. That's my personal number. You guys can text, call. I don't care. I am currently serving a Facebook ban. So
who isn't?
If anybody out there doesn't follow me and starts to follow me, you'll see stuff starting December 29th again. But if you go through like my page, you will see like I am the least bannable person. Like I don't ever say anything I use profanity, but I don't really ever say anything offensive.
Yeah.
I don't use hate speech or anything that can be construed as hate speech. But you will find that being the least bannable person makes me the most banned person you will ever see. Like
here's a funny story. I've never been banned on Facebook, and like during the height of COVID, like I was not politically correct at all, and I certainly wasn't sharing Facebook's views. And I was like, every friend's like, I'm getting banned. I'm banned for 30 days. I'm like, I don't know how I'm flying under the radar right now, but I'll take it.
So the last ban, usually, I mean, I get a ban like probably at least every other month.
Yeah.
And it's for completely out of context shit that the algorithm and the AI picks up.
Yeah.
So usually I can beat them on the challenge. But like a couple of weeks ago, a buddy of mine posted a picture of a guy selling umbrellas in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved the picture, and I had a great post idea off of that picture. So I commented below. I should have fucking messaged him. I commented below. I was like, oh my God, I have to steal this. Do you mind? And he said, no, absolutely. What's that?
That got you banned?
Yes. Do you know why that got me banned?
No.
Because Facebook said I was promoting theft. Right? The one before that was on a joking comment about a friend of mine who just got out of a bad relationship. And I was like, God, men can be assholes. And I didn't even say assholes. I was like, God, men can be pigs. Right? Just joking around.
Yeah.
They banned me for hate speech.
Good Lord, man.
Yeah, I was like, you guys got to be kidding me. I would go so far as to like, I'd be like finding Facebook employees on LinkedIn, being like, "Would you fucking help me?"
Yeah, talk to Zuckerberg, man. Tell us like stop being such a douchebag.
Yeah, so make sure you're not just on one platform.
Yeah, true that. I second that notion.
Awesome.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much, dude. I appreciate you. Appreciate the friendship. Appreciate you jumping on here. If you're listening, share this show. I think it could absolutely. I think there are multiple tiers to the messages that were being shared, and I think each one of those has a lot of value, insight, and just like wisdom, life, and experience intertwined throughout the entire thing. So if you enjoyed the show, please share it. Kyle, you mentioned where you can find you. I'll put those links in the show notes under the YouTube video when I upload it. So just look for there. If you can't remember them or you don't want to remember them, that's fair enough. And happy Friday, everybody, man. I appreciate you, Kyle. Thank you for being on the show, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. I'll see you on the battlefield, everybody.